Okay, guys, welcome back to a new video here. And we've been talking about the possibility of something like this going on over the last few videos here. And Israel seems to have made a decision on the actions they're going to take against the Houthis. We said, would they go after Iran? Which it seems as though they might in the future. But as of now, they have officially declared a long term military conflict against the Houthis in Yemen. This is a major step. And this is coming from Khan News, which is an Israeli publication. This is number one. Israel plans a wide range of offensive actions, not just airstrikes, which is telling as well, to gravely harm Houthi regime and leadership. It's been reported they're going to target a lot of the leadership of the Houthis, trying to decapitate them. And number two, Israeli actions are continue to go on for weeks. So again, a major, major statement. It was officially announced that the Israelis are declaring this a long-term military operation. So a huge deal. And possibly the even bigger deal, guys, is this is being coordinated with the Americans, it seems, because we've actually seen American strikes as well as UK strikes in Yemen as well. And a crazy story. I mean, this is just unbelievable. A timeline of the recent attacks, just to give you context. And again, we have videos that are covering of a lot of the events that have happened over the last few weeks on this. And you guys can see that. Link in the description. And make sure to like and subscribe, by the way, guys. It's super good for the algorithm. We're continuing to make a lot of progress, and it's just great. So it's super good to help the channel. So please do that. And in terms of the timeline of a lot of the recent attacks that we've seen here, so again, December 19th, Israel attacked Houthi-held targets in the capital. Overnight, the Houthis responded with a missile fire towards Israel, activating sirens across central Israel. No injuries reported. December 21st, a ballistic missile was launched from Yemen, lands in a playground in Haifa. And again, we've discussed that as well. We also talked about that. This is a major deal where a missile from Yemen actually impacted in Israel, which is super uncommon. And this was a major escalation, or is viewed as a major escalation by the Israelis. 16 people were injured. And the U.S. actually later that night struck in Yemen. Now, since then, the Yemenis have been sending in a lot of missiles into Israel almost on daily now, which was super uncommon. That was not something that happened mostly, but they have upped their attacks since Hezbollah, the ceasefire with Hezbollah has been reached. And again, officially the other day we saw that Israel is declaring a long-term military operation. And December 26th, this was a major, major news story, guys, for a number of reasons. Israel launched airstrikes, major airstrikes in Yemen, targeting the international airport and airbase, power stations, and ports. At least 3 people were killed and 14 injured, Houthi media says. The craziest thing about this, guys, was the WHO chief, the World Health Organization, who was there for humanitarian purposes, was in the country, in the airport when these strikes took place. And it was unbelievable, the story he was saying. He actually believed he would die because of how intense these airstrikes were. So an unbelievable story. And he said that civilians were in the crossfire too, which is of course extremely concerning. And it's just unbelievable that in actual airport terminals are being bombed by Israel, according to the WHO chief. And again, the reason why they're targeting airports, probably for transportation, guys. They don't want Iranian transports getting into the Yemeni airport. But again, it's unbelievable, and we cannot have another situation in Gaza and in southern Lebanon, because the amount of civilian casualties already in this conflict is through the roof. And hey, and then of course the Israeli position is we won't tolerate unprovoked aggression, which is what they attribute the Houthis to doing. And I think we're only going to see this continue to escalate, guys. I think it's pretty clear. The Houthis have said they're not going to stop, basically. This is not going to deter them. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to be looking at a pretty long-term conflict here. And once Israel goes after the Houthis, I think after that, if they are able to be successful with it, which again, of course, is a major if, who knows? And according to many reports, the Houthis are actually far more technologically advanced than many would think. So it's another key thing to note. And after they go after the Yemenis, and we talked about the former defense minister Gallant the other day saying after they do that, it'll be a test run, quote unquote, which again, it's a pretty wild thing to say, guys. I mean, a test run when you're bombing areas, considering a practice to go after Iran. I just think that's a stunning way to attribute something like this. But he said after that, they're going to use Yemen as a sort of test run before we go after Iran. So again, it's going to be interesting to see the next few weeks. And we've talked in the past about how the Trump administration position on this. It seems as though they're basically giving Israel the AOK to go after Iran and go after the proxies here. And a Houthi political official said the attacks will continue in solidarity with the Palestinians despite escalating Israeli airstrikes in Yemen. Again, it's pretty wild stuff. And in fact, what we're seeing here, guys, is one of the defense systems that actually intercepted some of the missiles from Yemen was the U.S. THAAD defense systems that were actually deployed in Israel around a month or two ago, in preparation for Iranian strikes on Israel, which is again wild. So U.S. military defense systems are actually being used to intercept missiles from Yemen. So U.S. military resources are directly being used in combat right now in defense of Israel. That's pretty wild stuff. That's pretty wild stuff. And again, that's happened in the past when Iran attacked Israel. The U.S. was directly involved. People need to be aware that the U.S. is, in many cases, directly involved in this conflict. Um, and what are the implications of this? A long-term military conflict in Israel, guys. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that we could be in for a long road. It could be a very long, painful road, unfortunately. And I think the Israelis, the Americans are not going to handicap them. Biden has no interest. He only has a few weeks left, and the Trump administration seems totally fine with it. So again, I think it's unfortunately we're probably going to see a prolonged conflict here when it seemed as though maybe we could be trending towards peace as a potential ceasefire in the Gaza Strip was occurring. And not just that, guys, we're actually seeing massive airstrikes in the Gaza Strip, like extremely powerful according to all reports in the northern Gaza Strip, which has already been decimated by Israeli forces. I mean, you cannot even imagine what that place looks like. It is very sad to see. But again, it's an unbelievable situation. The Israeli attacks continue, and I think again we've talked about this in the past. I think the main thing we're going to see at the end of this is going to be some sort of conflict with Iran, and which of course is very destabilizing and going to be a very, very major event when and if it happens, which I think it will. It's a matter of when, not if. But again, the major headline today: the Israeli armed forces have announced a long-term military campaign in Israel, and both Israel nor the Houthis show any signs of de-escalating. So again, very concerning situation. Thank you guys for watching. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.